If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Your support helps us share more amazing stories. My wife's friend had come over to help her set the table for dinner. From where I sat, I could hear them chatting in the kitchen, laughter mixing with soft whispers. Every now and then, I caught them exchanging glances that made me wonder if I was the subject of their little secrets. Maybe I was just imagining it, but men have a sixth sense for these things. When two women whisper and giggle, something's brewing. I leaned back in my chair, pretending to scroll on my phone, but my mind was busy spinning theories. Why was she really here for a sleepover? Did something happen at her place? Maybe a fight with her husband? Or had she shown up with some other reason? Maybe to size me up? The possibilities grew more ridiculous the longer I thought. A few minutes later, they appeared from the kitchen, arms full of snacks and wine. That's when I realized this wasn't just a quick visit. It was shaping up to be a full-blown girls' night. My wife smiled and said, "We thought it'd be nice if the three of us hung out together tonight." That line caught me off guard. Usually I'd groan, make an excuse, say I was tired. Anything to escape girl talk. But something inside told me to stay. I couldn't explain why, but I had a feeling the night was going to take an unexpected turn. Her friend sat directly across from me, not beside me, perfectly positioned so we could see each other clearly. They poured the wine, lifted their glasses, and her eyes locked on mine. "To good company," she said with a subtle smirk. I smiled back. "To surprises," I replied. Our glasses clinked softly, and in that moment I knew a game had started. I didn't know the rules, but I was already playing. The first sip of wine went down smooth, washing away the day's exhaustion. The three of us sat around the table, candles flickering, snacks spread out, and I noticed my wife had even lit a candle for the atmosphere. Maybe she wanted it cozy, or maybe she knew something I didn't. With women, nothing ever happens just because. My wife kept the conversation flowing, asking her friend about her life, old memories, random stories. I mostly listened, nodding at the right moments, but I couldn't help noticing how her friend laughed, not just with my wife but with me. Every time she laughed, her eyes lingered on me for a split second too long. It wasn't obvious, but I caught it. Guys understand this language, the silent, testing kind. It wasn't just a look, it was a question. "Are you paying attention?" I tried to act normal, keeping a neutral face, but my brain was running laps. Inside, I knew the evening had already turned into something more than casual talk. Eventually, the conversation drifted toward relationships. Her friend tilted her glass and said, "You two have been together for years, right? That's impressive. I always admire couples who can make it work long-term." My wife smiled proudly and touched my arm. "Over 10 years, she said. "We argue, but we're still solid." I thought, so that's where this is headed, marriage talk. And everyone knows once the wine starts flowing, conversations like that tend to take interesting turns. Her friend sighed softly. I wish I could say the same. It never seems to work for me. Either the guy's too nice and I get bored, or he's passionate, but impossible to live with. My wife nodded in sympathy. Yeah, it's hard to find balance. I listened, pretending not to analyze, but part of me wondered, who was she really saying that for? My wife? Or me? We poured another round of wine. The tension relaxed, laughter came easier. I cracked a few jokes. "Marriage has its perks," I said. "But you can't exactly pretend you're not home when someone rings the doorbell anymore." Her friend laughed. "Right, and no hanging socks from the chandelier either." "Exactly," I grinned. "And dinner's no longer optional, it's tradition." My wife rolled her eyes playfully. "You'd say that even if you were single." We all laughed. For a moment, everything felt light, but under the laughter, something shifted. The air felt heavier, charged with unspoken tension. Her friend brushed a loose strand of hair back, leaning slightly forward. The movement was subtle, but enough for her dress to tighten just so. My eyes followed before I could stop them. My wife was talking, but I didn't hear half of it. The wine was working its magic, loosening words, lowering guards. Then her friend said quietly, "Don't you ever wonder if marriage lasting forever is too much? Like what if someone new comes along, and that's it?" My wife blinked, surprised. "What do you mean?" Her friend took a sip before answering. I just think fidelity is beautiful, but not easy. We're all human, right? If I had said that, my wife would have shot me a look that could kill. But coming from her friend? My wife just sighed. Yeah, it's hard sometimes, but it depends on the people. Smart move, I thought. Very smart way to test the water. We filled our glasses again, third round now, and the mood grew more intimate. My wife talked about silly arguments we'd had. Her friend nodded, laughing, and then told her own story. About a jealous ex who drove her crazy but made her heart race. Sometimes, she said, her tone almost teasing, that kind of passion is addictive. When someone's jealous, it makes you feel wanted. I chuckled. Or gives you a headache. She shot me a knowing look. Maybe. But without a little fire, life gets boring, don't you think? That sentence hung in the air longer than it should have. My wife stood to grab another plate of snacks, leaving me alone with her friend. She didn't look away. For a moment, silence stretched between us. I focused on the glass in my hand, pretending not to notice the way she was watching me. When my wife came back, conversation resumed, lighter again, but I could tell. Something invisible had shifted. There was a charge between us now, like static before a storm. Every small movement felt amplified. When her fingers brushed near mine on the table, when she fixed her hair too slowly, when our eyes met for a second too long. I noticed it all. None of it was random. My wife turned on some old pop songs, singing along cheerfully. I joined in, but my thoughts were elsewhere. Was I imagining things? Or was this really happening? The more I thought about it, the more certain I became. This wasn't coincidence. This was deliberate. Evenings like this usually end in harmless chatter and goodbyes. But this one felt different. My wife's friend wasn't hiding her playful side anymore. When my wife joked about me forgetting her birthday once, her friend laughed. Men. Always forgetting the important things. But sometimes it's fun to test how much they care. She looked right at me as she said it, and winked. Not enough for my wife to see, but enough for me to notice. A chill ran down my spine. Then came more stories, more laughter, more wine. She told us about an ex, the perfect man type. Always in a suit, polite, serious, but in her words, like a robot. Even in bed, no passion, just routine. I ran away after a month. My wife burst out laughing, but I couldn't shake the question. Why tell that story now? And why look at me while saying it? The night went on, and my wife eventually excused herself for a moment. Suddenly, it was just the two of us. The air grew still. Her friend glanced around, then softly said, "You've got a really nice home. Feels cozy." "Thanks," I replied quickly. "We try." She smiled faintly. "You still don't seem used to me being here though." I looked up. She was watching me closely, calm, confident, like she already knew what I was thinking. Just then my wife came back, and the tension diffused in an instant. But the undercurrent stayed, like a quiet hum beneath the surface. Her friend went on chatting, sharing funny stories, then mentioned a guy she recently met. Nice, polite, but too shy. I mean, how can someone my age be afraid to kiss? My wife laughed, but my mind snagged on one word: fire. The wine was almost gone now. My wife got up to fetch another bottle, and her friend leaned closer. Almost whispering, she said, "Have you noticed that somehow, we always end up alone together tonight?" I tried to laugh it off. Coincidence, I guess. She smirked. "You think so?" My wife came back, and everything shifted again. Casual, cheerful, innocent. But inside, my pulse was still racing. It felt like a chess match. Every move subtle, deliberate, meant to push the boundary 1 inch further. Soon music filled the room again. My wife clapped and said, "Let's dance." Her friend grinned. "Why not?" And as they began moving to the rhythm, laughing, swaying, I sat there, watching. The show had only just begun.